originally invented in China around 100 BC. That's over 2,000 years ago. Chinese artists quickly began fashioning paper into lanterns, fans, and of course, flowers. These flowers would be used for decoration and often associated with religious services. Information about how to make paper spread throughout Europe and eventually to European colonies. In Mexico, paper flowers became so popular that they now have entire festivals dedicated to making paper flowers.
Hi Knox County artists! I'm Miss Burchett and I normally teach at Beaumont Magnet Academy, but today I am here to show you how to make these really cool tissue paper flowers. These are kind of easy to make. My students love making them. Once you know how to do them, you can make them like crazy. You can give them to people. You can use them as party decorations. You can even attach it to a hair clippy, and you can make a fashion statement with your beautiful flowers that you make. So I get to show you how you can make them. One of my other favorite things about this project is we can use a lot of materials that you already have at home. The main thing for making these flowers is we need tissue paper. Tissue paper is a special kind of paper that is really thin. You might see it in a gift bag. Tissue paper is that stuff that you stuff in there that's so colorful and pretty. Anytime someone gives me a gift bag, I'm saving it to use the tissue paper. So you might already have some tissue paper at your house. You might have some new tissue paper that your family bought to put into a gift bag. You might have some recycled tissue paper from a present that someone got you. But if you don't have tissue paper, you can actually use tissues. I remember making these when I was a kid, just using tissues. We didn't ever have tissue paper in my house. And so the main thing that you have to remember for this project is the materials that we're using are really thin paper. They need to be very flexible. So regular paper that we write on and draw on is not gonna work. But the paper that we are using are super thin, either tissues or tissue paper, will tear if we're being too rough. So we're gonna use really gentle hands today. Okay, let's get started. All right, we should be all set. I think I've got all my materials. I have some tissue paper or some tissues. I'm gonna need a pair of scissors, and I need something that I can tie with. So I've got some string here, or maybe you've got a ribbon laying around, maybe something you use to tie up in your hair. If I was making these in my classroom at school, I would probably use pipe cleaners, but if you don't have those at home, you also could use, this is a little twist tie. I think it was used to wrap up the end of a loaf of bread. You just need one thing that will tie to make one flower. So any little thing, even a grocery bag. I could take my scissors and I could cut the handle part off of a grocery bag, and I could use that little piece to do some tying. Just one thing to tie, a little bit of tissue paper and tissues. Okay, the next step is cutting our tissue paper or our tissues to be the right size and shape. So you can make these big or you can make these small, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is the proportion of our rectangle. Proportion is when we compare two things. So this is a rectangle. It's got a long side and it's got a short side, but it's a special kind of rectangle because it's a rectangle that has the short side is half as long as the long side. So whatever size tissue paper flower you're making, as long as the short side is half of the long side, you'll be fine. So if this side is 3, this side needs to be 3 times 2, that's gonna be 6. Or if this side is 8 inches, this side's gonna need to be 8 times 2, that would be 16. All right, the other way that you could check to see that you've got the right shape of a rectangle is if you fold your rectangle in half, it should look like a square. Mine does, so I've got the right proportions, I have the right ratio. Okay, I've got my tissue paper. You might notice I have more than one piece of tissue paper. I wanna have about 5 to 10 pieces of tissue paper, and they all need to be the same size. and I stack them up like a sandwich. And then I'm ready to fold. I'm folding all of the pieces, and I'm starting on one of my short ends of my rectangle. I'm gonna fold it over so that purple from the back is now on top. And what I wanna do next is make an accordion fold. So I can fold it under, and then fold it over again. Sometimes when I'm teaching really little kids how to do this, they get mixed up and they forget to make it zigzag back and forth. So if you're having a hard time with that, one trick you could try is you fold it and then you flip it. Fold it, flip it. And if you keep folding and flipping, it's a little easier to not have it get messed up. I'll show you here just a moment what it should look like. Folding and flipping and folding and flipping and folding and flipping. And when I'm done, check to see, does it look like a zigzag? Does it look like an accordion fold? If you see a zigzag or a stair-step pattern, you've done it right. If yours got kind of all twisted up, let's go back and try to fix it. So now I've made my zigzag accordion fold. The next thing that I'm going to do is I have to tie in the middle. So I can use my string or my ribbon, or I'm going to use the grocery store bread twist tie. I'll show you that it works just fine. I want to tie something in the middle of my folded piece of tissue paper. And what you can see is already starting to happen. It's kind of bunching out like a bow. That's what I'm going to do next. Pull those ends. It'll look like a butterfly or like a bow tie. We're ready for the last step. This is the step that can be just a little bit tricky sometimes. We're ready to make our flower fluff. I'm going to take the top layer of tissue paper and very gently peel, peel, peel. And I've got to kind of get my fingers down into those folds. Sometimes I need to kind of spread it out a little bit to get into those folds. Remember, I want to be really, really gentle because the tissue paper or the tissues will tear really easily. But I also want to make sure I get way down into those little cracks so I get as much of that first color standing up. And you'll notice at this point I've made the light pink stand up on this side. I need to make this side match. Go ahead and get all of one color standing up before you move on to another color. So that was my light pink. Now I'm doing the light pink on the other side. And because of the way I'm making my flower, that light pink is going to be the center of my flower. It should look kind of round. If it looks like a taco, if it doesn't look very round, if it looks like a straight line, if from the side it kind of looks like a taco, you've forgotten to pull up those ends. Make sure you grab those, pull them all the way to the middle too. We want a nice round center to our flower. And now it's time to do the next color. All right, now that we've made a regular tissue paper flower using the tissues, let's try one with the Kleenex tissues. When I pull one out of the box, you might notice it's almost a square shape. We need a rectangle. But the other thing you might notice is there's this fold line down the middle. And if I cut on that fold line, it makes a rectangle that's about the right proportions for what we need. Remember that we need a rectangle that's about twice as long on the long side as it is on the short side. And I think that's what we've got here. So one Kleenex, when I cut it, makes two pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and add a few more. I think I have 3 Kleenexes worth here. It made about 6 pieces when I cut it in half. And now it's time to do the folding. I'm gonna fold that short side up, use my fingers to crease it. And then if I flip the whole thing over, it can make it a little easier to fold and flip, fold and flip. Remember, we're making what's called an accordion fold or a zigzag fold. So if you don't see those zigzag shapes when you're done, let's check mine. Yep, looks like I've got zigzags all the way through. If I had any spots that weren't zigzagged, I would need to go back and fix them or else my flower's not gonna work. This time I'm gonna use a pipe cleaner, but I could use just a piece of string, a rubber band, anything that'll tie around that middle piece. We're gonna open it up so it looks like a bow tie or a butterfly. And then the last step, this is usually the hard one, is where we're gonna make it fluffy. We're gonna very gently grab each end and gently, gently, gently pull it towards the middle. Now with the tissues, the Kleenexes, we have to be really, really careful because they'll tear really easily. You know how to make smaller tissue paper flowers. I wondered what would happen if I used a whole big brand new piece of tissue paper. Let's find out. Learned how to make a small tissue paper flower. We've learned how to make a flower using tissues, and we know how to apply those skills to make even a huge tissue paper flower. So you have a good time and get creative and see what can you do with these skills. Find some thin, soft paper at your house, cut it into a rectangle that's twice as long as it is wide. Make those zigzag folds and see what you can create. Bye.
Hi artist, I'm Mrs. Comer. I am the art teacher at Christenberry Elementary, and today we're going to do an art lesson on drawing found objects, and we're going to get to do that through going on a scavenger hunt for color. So drawing is such a fun and easy way to create art, but sometimes it's hard to figure out, well, what do I want to draw today? What could I draw? An easy way to do that is to go on a color scavenger hunt. So what we're actually going to do today is we're going to talk about all the different colors that we can find in our homes. You're actually going to get to watch me go on this color scavenger hunt where I walk around my living room and find objects in these colors. I'm going to bring them back to my drawing table and I'm going to show you how to draw these objects on my paper. So before we begin making art together today or going on our scavenger hunt or drawing, let's talk about the materials that we need for our art lesson. You're going to need a piece of paper, or if you happen to have a sketchbook, this would be an amazing sketchbook entry and you could fill several pages with our art today. You're also going to need drawing materials of your choice. You're the artist, it's your choice. So you can use pencils or pens, crayons, markers, colored pencils, felt tip pens. The sky's the limit. Whatever you love to draw with, that's what you should draw with today. You're also going to need items from around your house in different colors. So today we're going to try to find something red, something orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, something gray, something black, something brown, and something white. So I know that that's a lot of things to draw today, but you could keep working on this day by day. You don't have to do all of the colors today. You could even just pick one or two colors during our scavenger hunt and find those. So today, like I said, I'm actually going to find every single color on this list in my living room and in my play area for my son. But again, you just can choose a couple if you want to do that, or you could choose all of them. So we're looking for some things that are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, brown, gray, black, and white. So let me show you what I have found in my house today that I want to draw for you during our art lesson. Okay, artists, so I brought all of my scavenger hunt items back to where I'm drawing here at my drawing table. I have my pencil ready, I have my paper ready, and so I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna divide my paper up into different sections, and I'm even gonna label what colors are gonna be in each section to help me organize my ideas and my drawings. You, of course, don't have to do that because it's the artist and it's your choice. So if you watch me, what I'm going to do is actually just divide my paper this way and then again this way into quarters. Right here, I think in this block, I will do something red. I think in this block, I'm going to draw my orange object. I think in this block, I'm going to draw something yellow. And then in this block, I'm going to attempt to draw something green. So that's where I'm going to start. You, of course, can start wherever you'd like to. So my red object I found is actually this red dustpan that my child likes to use when he cleans up with us. So what I'm going to be doing is setting my red object off to the side. I'm going to study it with my eyes. I'm going to be looking at things like, where are the shadows? What kind of shapes does the object make? What kind of lines do I see? As an artist, when you're drawing something from real life, always start by looking at shapes and lines that the object makes, and then you can look at things like color and shadow. So check this out. All right, artists, so as you can see, I just did a quick sketch of that red dustpan, that toy dustpan. Things that I noticed were shapes and lines that it was making, shadows it was making, and I did my best to replicate that very quickly here. I am not spending a lot of time on these drawings because I have a lot of colors that I want to tackle, and a lot of times in art, it's good to just sketch stuff out super quickly. So for my orange object, I'm going to move over to this one. The orange object that I found was this little orange plastic teacup. So that's what I'm going to be drawing in this box. All right, so now I'm moving on to my something yellow and my something green. My something yellow is actually this giant Lego block. It's huge. And I like it because it has all these straight lines and pretty challenging top areas that I'm going to be drawing. So I'll set that off to the side while I look at that, study it, and then draw it on my paper as best I can. And then for my green object, I found this tiny little lantern light. Doesn't work, but it's going to be fun to draw. And again, these are just really quick sketches and colorings that we're doing of these objects. You do not have to spend a lot of time on them, although you're the artist, so you can if you want. So watch me go. All right, artists, so you've seen me do 4 of my colors, red, orange, yellow, and green. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my blue object. I have this blue watering can I'm going to be drawing. For purple, I found a couple of little things that I really wanted to draw. I have this tiny little purple plate. I have these purple shapes, and I might practice around with those as a little purple still life. For white and black, I might actually combine them into the same drawing. I found these white and black crayons that my son uses that might be fun in a drawing together. For gray, found some rocks. For brown, I found these play chocolate chip cookies. And for pink, I found this book of colors, which I thought was really appropriate for our lesson today, so I'll be drawing that. Well, artists, I hope you've had a really good time today going on our color scavenger hunt. I hope that you drew some really interesting objects that you found in or around your home, and I hope that it was a little bit challenging for you too. I know it was for me. When I look at my first drawings and then I compare them to my last drawings and I see them side by side, I kind of feel like I got better from start to end. So not only can this be a really fun exercise, it can also help you become more comfortable drawing. It can help you with your skills. It can help you with the way that you see things, which is a really big part of being an artist. So when I look at all of my collections, it makes me want to do more. It makes me want to maybe go on an outdoor color scavenger hunt. Maybe I can take my sketchbook outside and draw one thing a day that's each a different color and document it that way in my sketchbook. There are so many ways to have fun on color scavenger hunts, and I hope that you are challenging yourself as an artist and having fun as well. I've had a really good time with you today, and I can't wait to make art with you next time.